When you care so much about someone that when they come to you for abuse, you won't stop interrupting them enough to even find out how they're being abused. Your idea of helping them is to tell them to pretend it's not happening. You show them that they don't matter by talking about you and all of your problems, and your problems, no offense, are fucking trivial. There was a lot of evil people who wanted to play head games and wanted to waste my time. They didn't have any interest in helping. Help would denote they did something other than blow smoke up my ass. And I did explain to that lady that I had her training. Same training those mandated reporters get. I watch that shit. I learn that shit. I read that shit. I listen to that shit. They have forced that to be my life. They tell me I have to learn those things and do those things. And I have to do it in the most inhumane conditions and most hostile environments. Places where I have no friends or loved ones, no family. Then again, I never did, really. Did I? I look back at all the times that Brandon Ratner helped me out. And then I remind myself that I paid him for it every time. Every time. These people are all lying to me about what the law says, and they know they're lying to me about what the law says. They say they don't know. Those ladies up there, all those different places say they don't know. They say that to every mentally ill person who is sent to them, because that's free therapy, free money. It's easy fucking money, and it comes back every month. Same thing with the jails. It's easy money, it's free money. Plus, they're living homeless. So they're breaking the law because they're homeless. It's easy money every month. At the expense of the taxpayers. It's like a fireman running around and burning down buildings. So that if there's fire, then he gets paid. If he starts an apartment building on fire and goes back to the station, they get to be heroes. After everybody's already burned to the ground. Y'all don't stop to consider common sense. And this is the thing about rich people. None of them have common sense. They hire people who had to work their way to the top. Primarily through illegal means, ill-begotten gains. And the security of a safe environment to work in. There's a lot of people who started off businesses in their parents' garages. We couldn't do anything in my mom's garage. It was full of trash. My mom was a pack rat, same as Laura Nelson. Well, all right, Laura Nelson's a hoarder. It's different. She's always afraid that she's going to get her son taken away because she's an unfit parent, because she's a hoarder. And that scares the life out of her. So, of course, her cowardice, she's afraid that if she comes forward and tells the truth, she'll be targeted. Blah, blah, blah. Mandated reporters refusing to do their jobs forced me to have to break the law to force them to do their jobs. Forced me to act like my predators to force them to do their jobs. And still, they wouldn't do their jobs. Instead, they showed that they're going to work together with my predators. When I'm telling you that Jared Hahn is one of the predators I gotta turn in, and he gets to be there to fucking antagonize the situation. He gets to be there to arrest me and take me in after he lies about me to Jen Beebe. My predators, their words get heard and mine don't. They use their professional position, and as long as they refuse to look at evidence, it is their word versus mine. I automatically lose. Mentally ill tag. Nobody goes in with me because they don't care. Lori isn't going to. That's pretty obvious. And she isn't going to shut the fuck up if she does. These professionals are supposed to do this job, and I am forced into a situation where I am abused by fucking drug addicts. Instead of looking at evidence, people just want to argue or tell me that it'll never work to turn it in together. That's one thing that nobody ever tries. Turn it in with me. As far as having a safe place to sit down and make a report, I can't. I can't provide that for myself. I can't provide a place. Them refusing to do their jobs and allowing people to harm me. Rather than investigate, they just would rather assume the right and wrong. Oh, Molly's automatically the victim because she's female. You don't stop to see the harm that I've had to endure. The bias and prejudice from Fred Meyer's employees like Rob. You could see how nice I was and how I tried to understand and how he made no attempt to understand. All he did was victimize me for being victimized, and so did the police. By the way, the officer who did that was nice about it, wasn't he? But he still broke the law. Again. See, that's the thing, is that law enforcement works together. They make sure that it's their word versus yours. And they're allowed to do it if nobody cares to go in with you. And how many hundreds of people have we recorded on this channel? Every one of them cowards. They want to interrupt me to tell me horror stories. I don't give a fuck. If you're not trying to turn it in, shut the fuck up. You won't listen to the victim. You make them go in by themselves. Each one of these fucking pussies in this town does the same thing as the rest of y'all, including Mike McKinster. He was fine with me recording for his safety. Many people stated that. They do feel safer with me there and with me recording, but I don't feel safe because they don't understand the problem. They want to give me temporary band-aids and not understand the complete and total fear that I have to have. Their temporary band-aids put my life at risk, put other people's lives at risk. I have to be afraid of one of the Denny's managers because she's a Karen, and everybody there knows she's a Karen. And I have to be worried that if I'm there and she comes there on a day that they weren't expecting her to show up, that I'm going to be harmed for being there, for being a customer. She wanted to threaten me with police because I was a customer over at fucking Starbucks. I didn't do anything illegal. The stuff that they're claiming is illegal is not illegal. There's a lot of laws we have about human and civil rights, and we violate every one of them when it comes to the homeless. It's not that I'm not trying. It's that I'm easy to victimize, so going in alone gets me talked over. You allow people to harm me until I attempt suicide, and then you pretend I'm a horrible person because I attempted suicide. No, suicide doesn't make you selfish. Natalie Bollinger was not suicidal because she was selfish. Selfish people kill others. Selfish people ignore their so-called friends and family until their friends and family kill themselves. You don't care. Your friend comes to you for help because they're being abused, and you can't make the time. You can't take an hour out of your day to help turn it in. You have any idea how many people tell me, oh, I believe you, I believe you, I believe you. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to know. That requires looking at the evidence, not asking my predators their side when I can barely communicate mine. The thing is that you can't allow it to be their word versus mine, and you have to hear mine first. You need to gather evidence. Through all of this, I should have had a case manager to help me when I was harmed. I am judged by your opinions, not by the facts. Mike McKinster, after ignoring all of the issues with me, claims that he worked with disabled youth and that he was a foster parent and a bunch of that. So he's got the mandated reporter training, and, well, as a Denny's employee, he chose to ignore all of the signs of abuse, including me outright telling him. He talks about how he's friends with the cops. Everybody else there talks about how corrupt it is. Now, if all those people just at the Denny's who wanted to just talk about it actually stepped up with me, we could get heard. When I try to tell them about the abuse I'm enduring and that I need help, I need someone to go in with me, it ends up being a whole series of excuses out of them. Them interrupting me to tell me all of their fucking horror stories, literally anything except actually help in the way that I need help. See, I'm trying to follow the legal route, but that doesn't work unless a friend or family member is there who cares. All of these people go out of their way every day to try to push us to commit suicide. Even our own therapists. But until we do commit suicide over their lack of professionalism, they're going to make sure to make a profit. So are the police and the jails, sheriff's department, police department, TFCC, TCCHC. They're all going to make a profit off you. You don't matter. You're not a person. You're a fucking dollar sign, and a free goddamn dollar sign at that. You're the easiest person to railroad. They know they can violate your rights blatantly and openly, and nobody's going to give a fuck. Because if you try to turn it in, you're going to be traumatized for it. I needed a friend or family member to care. And they showed all they cared about was them and eating up my time and money. When somebody is being abused, turning it in right away is what needs to happen. Nobody helped me to turn that in right away. Instead, they took advantage of me along with a lot of other people. And when they found out about those other people, they never tried to help me turn them in. They told me it was my fault. It's my fault for trying to get help. It's my fault for trying to get help. When you beg someone for help for over a year because people are threatening to kill you and your family, and they don't fucking care. They just pretend to because you're bringing over cigarettes. Or because you'll panhandle up food or magic cards for them. When I give some of these off-the-wall examples, these are real-life things that happened. It seems off the wall, but it's true. Kayla Trujillo and Raji wanted cigarettes. Kenneth Wilson and Leatha Plunkett just wanted to spend my disability money on free shit for them and then bully me because I had nowhere else to go and I had no help. I had to go to Kayla Trujillo because Jeff Ritter and Kara Heller had been fucking wasting time for months, claiming there's nothing they could do. I was being harmed. I had to be afraid to go to police alone. Every homeless man does. A male gets treated horribly for trying to turn in his abusers. But no one takes it seriously. They have no respect for me. They only care about them. You say that suicide is selfish because it robs your loved ones of you. They don't love you. They don't love you. That's the point. You thought they did. Natalie thought her family loved her. She cut herself to ribbons up one side and the other. hoping that her family would love her. That they would realize how much they were hurting her, that pain was because of them. And they treated her like she was mentally ill for cutting on herself. No, they were mentally ill for what they did. Her mom was mentally ill for letting Ted rape her and beat her over and over again. That's not Sean David Schwartz's fault. That's not Natalie Bollinger's fault. You let Natalie's family rape her, rent her out as a prostitute, beat her, neglect her. Her family did that. Her friends, instead of listening with the intent of turning it in or protecting her from those predators, and protecting the rest of us from the predators she let go. But they had the drugs, and when she went back to Colorado, she went right back to the drugs. Right back to the paranoia of these guys that she was familiar with. She went back to her abusers because they had drugs. She fell right back into that shit, same as Jamie did with James. She changed her story to manipulate. Just like Jamie. She changed her story over and over again. The actions that are committed against me when I have to go in alone as an at-risk adult show why APS is supposed to be there. They're supposed to collect evidence and they're supposed to help get the victims safe. Putting me in housing doesn't make me safe, especially when I have to be afraid of police. And I have to be afraid of people who only know who I am because I was stuck homeless. And I'm nice to people, and I'm being forced to go to services where these fucking druggies are, and then they recognize my face, and they want to come talk to me and associate with me and ask me if I have any drugs to give them, or if it's alright if they smoke their drugs. No, I have no drugs ever for you, please leave. But I can't say that because then they might get volatile. I have to be overly nice in the hope that somebody cares. Miss Peaches, it's Kayla Trujillo. I tried so hard to get her to listen, but she wouldn't hear me. It was always her turn to speak, and she would fucking snap at me until I left. So I paid her with cigarettes to ignore me, and I paid for food and magic cards for her to ignore me and to snap at me and to yell at me and to berate me and to do absolutely nothing to help me the way I needed, but to help me the way that she wanted. She thought I just needed to get laid. No, I didn't need a girlfriend, I needed a friend. A friend who would actually listen, and instead of forcing me to do whatever stupid idea they had, help me to stop the abuse. Help me to get a protection order against these people so they can't hurt me anymore. Help me to not be socially isolated. Because I cannot defend myself and I won't be allowed. But no matter what, all of these people wanted to talk over me and tell me how to think and how to feel, and when I was out of resources, it was time for me to go. All 4 times that I went to Miss Peaches where she was going to sit down and listen to me, prior to the time I was at her house when Natalie died. All 4 of those times after Christmas of 2016, the first time I'd gone to her. There was a total of 8 trips to Miss Peach's house in between when I left Virginia in 2016 and when Natalie got her brains blown out in 2017. Spanning over a year from the first time I talked to Miss Peaches to when Natalie got shot in the head. There was 8 times overall. 4 of those times were supposed to be when she was going to listen to me, or she had scheduled it so that she would listen to me because Abear wasn't there, or he was rescheduled, or he was busy. I did go there. They didn't want to, they were broke. They didn't have any money, so I was going to have to bring my own supplies. I was going to have to bring food, and the longer I was there, the more, instead of finally helping and listening, the more they treated me like I was a burden. I'd spent the last of what I had almost every time in desperation because of empty promises. If you come here, Sean, yes, we care. Then there was the fun stuff to do. And yeah, it would have been fun if Abear wasn't there. Everybody got burnt out on playing Magic the Gathering because Abear doesn't care. He's all about just winning and being mean and talking trash and making it fucking suck for everybody. Nobody wanted to play anymore. See, it just takes one person who's a fucking piece of shit who won't mind his own fucking business and allow you to have a one-on-one conversation. Like, we had to try to focus on making it a time where Abear wasn't there, and instead of Miss Peaches finally listening to me like the night she was gone back in 2016. December of 2016, when she was going to help me, she got drunk instead. But at least she kind of pretended like she was listening until Abear woke up. And he was a bully, and every time that I went over to Miss Peaches because she promised she was going to help, she bullied me the same exact way that Abear did. Oh, you just need to think this way and you need to think that way. When she'd tell me after 3 days of sending me down with my food stamp card to get food, or she'd send me down to get cigarettes because I'd been there too long. Hey, Sean, you've been here like 2 days. I realize I haven't had time. We've been real busy. Yeah, I know you've been busy fucking selling drugs and playing video games and watching your kids. Only one of those is more important. Only one of those is more important than keeping your word when your friend is being harmed. And I have to set up appointments to go see her. If I go to the cops immediately, I get blown off. Do you not understand that? I cannot communicate because I am fucking scared shitless. I am separated from my loved ones. Not that it matters because they didn't care. Their promises were there. Their actions showed that their promises were bullshit, and they just took advantage of me for my money. For my disability money. These people all had incomes. They all had families that were helping them, and I did not. Then there's getting back to Mr. Mike McKinster. He showed he's a world-class piece of shit. See, he said that he feels more comfortable with me recording, and that he did feel safer with me there. But then when I had a mental breakdown because I still, after all this time trying to get help, was only having everything taken from me because nobody cared if I was abused. Not Mike McKinster, not a single person in that Denny's was going to help me to turn it in. Not a single person in any of the Starbucks is going to help me turn it in. Not a single person at the Fred Meyer actually helped me to turn any of that shit. All these crimes against me, none of you care. The long-lasting effects of nobody coming forward about their involvement, about how hard I had tried to get help, and all of their excuses. It wasn't that I didn't try to get help, it's they all made excuses and talked over me and pretended like I was a bad person for trying to get them to listen. If I got frustrated with them telling me a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, give it to the universe, give it to God, you just got to love yourself. While people are harming me over and over and over again, and I'm trying to explain, hey, people are harming me. They're pushing me and shoving me and threatening to kill me. And you tell me, oh, well, just don't go back there. Oh, you mean don't go back to Longmont to see you? When you tell me to go there and see you? You mean tell me not to go back to Boulder to see you? Because you're in Boulder? That's where these predators were, for the most part. Boulder, Colorado, and on the internet. Over and over again. And I begged for help. I went to my friends and family for help because I needed it. The Boulder police had already gaslighted me to the point that I wanted to commit suicide. And the people that I thought of as friends, like Brandon Ratner and Veronica Randall, were too selfish to come forward about what was going on, too selfish to help me turn in how badly I was being abused by my so-called friends. My entire life it's been that way. I protected people, and I needed protected. Mike McKinster, when I had that mental breakdown from him going out of his way not to understand, not to listen, not to give me viable solutions, not to make any attempt whatsoever to look at evidence or help me turn it in. I told him over and over again, I told all of those people about the evidence I had. And all they wanted to do was talk about themselves, every single one of them. Every single one of them showed me that being selfish was more important than helping another human being to stop the abuse.